Their body shape's going to determine or going to really influence where the number 8 moves to. If they approach side on like this, then what's most likely to happen is the number 8 might push inside into this gap. Further down the line, they might have another play. Hi, I'm Darren Grover. I'm the PE and Coaching Development Officer in London and the South. This session is a build-up session to do with challenging, starting with a 1v1, moving to a 2v2, and then to a 4v4 small-sided game. Ideally, this session's outside, but it can definitely be done inside. The session that I've got in my mind is for an under 16s, but can definitely be scaled up to older age groups, but also scaled down to younger age groups. The aim of this game is to really concentrate on challenging, winning the ball back, what we do before, after, how we challenge safely and effectively, the purpose of it, and we're going to try and put it into real life situations, starting with a bit of technical detail and then really developing it into a small-sided game. On the pitch here, I've got it drawn out with the initial setup. You'll notice that there's 4 boxes, a safe zone through the middle. The boxes are starting on the 6-yard line out to the edge of the 18-yard box, a safe zone, and then a 12-yard box, the same as the one inside on the outside. So there's 4 different sections in which we're going to be playing. In each section, there will be 2 players, so 1 from each team. And there will also be a server who will be based in the 6-yard box and a second server based on the outside of the box. So that's one section there exactly, and just to show what it would look like with all 10 players in the pitch, it would work out to that section there with the servers. In this case, they're 2 goalkeepers, but they're going to start with 2 balls at their feet. In this part of the session, we're going to really dig down into the technical detail happening in each one of the individual boxes. I'm going to work on this section here between the blue number 8 and the yellow number 2. It's important to remember that the same thing is going to be happening in the other 3 boxes and with the other server at the other end. The first thing that we want to try and do when we're looking at challenging is understand how we can make the play predictable. So, as the ball gets served from the goalkeeper, in this case, to the number 8, the number 2 has a really important job to decide their distance, their body shape, and how they're going to react to the moment. If they're too far away from the ball, what happens there is the number 8 is able to get them faced up, which essentially means that they're able to control the moment going either side of the number 2. If they're too close to the ball, then the number 8 might have the opportunity to roll the body, turn, and then exploit into the safe zone straight away. So they might be able to go all the way up, and the 2's left being unable to challenge. The second thing in regards to body shape, as the number 2 approaches the ball, their body shape's going to determine or going to really influence where the number 8 moves to. If they approach side on like this, then what's most likely to happen is the number 8 might push inside into this gap. Further down the line, they might have another player there. If they approach side on, it's going to force them outside. So as a coach, as a player, you need to decide how we're going to make it predictable and what we're going to do. For me, in this situation, being this close to the goal, I'd probably encourage my number 2 to show with their body shape facing towards the goal, because if they are able to steal the ball, it means that they're going to get that pass into the server nice and quickly, and then that's where they earn the point. We've got to remember that the space is quite a tight area there, so this body shape and this positioning is really important from the number 2 here. In terms of that, if a challenge is made, we have to remember what we're doing after the challenge. It's really important that that first touch from the number 2 is out of their feet, allowing them to make the pass, or further down the game, or in a real life situation on a match day, it's able to get them to get the shot off. And that's really important how this works. If we're talking about technical detail from other sessions, we can maybe tell the number 8 how they can dribble, how they can get the good touch, how they can get the defender faced up. But in this situation, we're really going to specifically be working on the number 2 with the challenging. So in this progression, we're going to move from a 1v1 practice into a 2v2 practice. If you look at the setup here, all we've done is remove the middle line, which might be a set of cones or a set of flats. In this one end, which is what I'll focus on, I've got 2 players in the blue who'll be working with the goalkeeper as their on their team, and then 2 yellows who have just been working on the challenging in the previous session. As before, the way in which it works is the server will pass out to a blue. The blue then has to attempt to try and get into the safe zone in the middle, whether it be through dribbling and exploiting the gap, or in this case, they can pass to their teammate. The yellows are going to attempt to attack the ball, to challenge the ball. In this case, because I'm lucky enough to have a goal and I've got my goalkeeper there, I'm going to encourage the yellows to take a shot nice and early in order to score a goal, as opposed to in the previous session where they were passing. If I wasn't lucky enough to have a goal, which was suitable for the goalkeeper, I'd just keep that as an end zone. The same difference if I had a session and I didn't specifically have a goalkeeper in, I had another player, a defender, I would use them as a server in order to make a nice firm pass into their feet. As mentioned, the way that it's going to work in this is that I've got a goalkeeper. To begin with, the same practice as before, the goalkeeper is going to pass out to a blue. They can decide which one that they're going to go to, and then from that moment, it's an attack versus defence practice. So go into some technical detail here with regards to the yellow players as I did before. So focusing on number 2, their body shape is really important again because they're going to try and make play predictable. If they are outside the player, so furthest away, then that's going to encourage the 8 to dribble inside. That's where some communication between the 2 and his teammate number 4 here, that's going to work together. So 4 might recognise that if they come into this space, the 2 shadows them into this, and then the challenge could be made by number 4. Alternatively, if the ball is passed across, then the 4 and the 2 swap roles, simply working together to try and make the play predictable and get the 5 to either run into trouble or into a place where they might be challenged. If 4, as before, can get close enough to make the challenge, then simply they take the ball out, they take the shot, and they try and score the point nice and early. An alternative bit of technical detail that we could do is showing the player outside. So if you decide that you want to encourage players to move wide, what would happen is that the 4's body shape would simply turn. That would encourage the player to move on the outside, and they may run it off the pitch or they may run into trouble. The only bit of reality that I would say in this situation is if I'm encouraging them to take the shot, I'd probably say, remember where the goal is, how we can be productive and how we can be attacking on our second movement. So in this situation, I would personally encourage them to take it inside to take the shot as early as possible. So just to go back on that technical detail, it's understanding what we do before, where can we play, how can we position ourselves, not to be too far away, but also not too close. Second of all, it's understanding how can we stay on our feet, get a nice positive touch into the challenge nice and early before the opposition can set themselves. And then after the challenge has been made, remember we're trying to be really positive and take a shot. The final progression for this is to turn it into a 4v4 small-sided game. You'll notice on the pitch that all I've done is remove the safe zone, which was acting as a barrier between the 2 pitches. The way in which it's working in this particular scenario is I'm lucky enough to have 1 goal. Unfortunately, I don't have 2. So at this end of the pitch, we're going to be using a safe zone, which is simply past the end of the pitch, and there'll be a server in there. In this case, it's a goalkeeper. The way it works is we'll start with the goalkeeper here. They'll pass out to the 8 or to the 5, and then it simply plays exactly the way that we've been doing in the previous 2 sessions, 1v1, the 2v2, except the Blues are now trying to get it up to the server, whether it's a pass or if they're able to work the ball and then run it over the line. That's completely up to you as a coach for what you're trying to get out of the session, whether it's passing forward or whether it's running. The yellows in this case, same principles. They're trying to challenge the ball, move it quickly and get the shot off. This session I have a 4v4, it's equal numbers. However, not all sessions work like that. Sometimes you get uneven numbers. If, for instance, I was to have an extra player, for me personally, I would place a player in the middle because that would suit the formation that my team play. For instance, in this situation, I've got 2 players who play at centre-back, I've got a central midfielder, and then I've got 2 further forwards. Really important, the technical detail that I can give to this player is where they stand. So an example would be if 8 got the ball, 2 was to do really well and use all of the things that we've worked on before about showing them inside. It's understanding that this number 9, this yellow 9, is able to take up a position that perhaps they can steal the ball, being really predictable. An alternative is if I was to have an extra blue player, that would be an overload for the team trying to attack that I'm not necessarily going into as much technical detail for. That creates a whole different set of problems. For instance, if the 2 was to show them inside, it may pass to the 3, and then it's about where can the 4 go in order to still make an effective challenge. So as they go, and then we start getting onto the topics of compactness and defending. A final way that we could possibly use it is if we were to have a player who was on both teams, so the number 3 in this case would be on both teams, using them as a player that can bounce off or they can help make attacks as opposed to the defending. That's going to create situations where players have to work out different situations, try and get the ball and still make the play predictable despite having less numbers when they're in possession or when they're out of possession of the ball.